Okay. Okay. I think I'm live. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. All right. I'm going to turn up my volume because that makes it sound better, I think. Okay. So we're here. Hey. I should send out a tweet. I'm going to send out a tweet. Um, okay. So, Constantine, how you doing? Oh, he's muted. Okay.
I'm doing great. How things are on your side?
I'm doing good. I had a good day today. I got all my work done, which is nice, and I got a nice nap in between, which is also nice. So I'm doing pretty good. Uh,
Great. I had a nap as well, so we're on the same page.
you need your nap.
By the way, can you hear me well? Because I'm not using my headset right now, so
Yeah,
I
yeah, you're
want to
fine. You're
understand.
fine.
All right.
Okay, so right now, there's kind of breaking news. um, I guess it's not really breaking. I think it happened like 2 hours ago, but Odessa got hit by drones tonight, which did a lot of damage from what I can see. It's kind of unfortunate. I don't know where in Odessa got hit. It's kind of like too early for me to know that. The videos are. I guess I can show a video. They're basically just darkness and then loudness. Uh, I guess this doesn't really mean much because here I'll mute myself and then replay it with sound. So that's Odessa. There is a fire. I have no idea what was hit or what the damage was. I guess we'll find out tomorrow or something. So that's kind of breaking news. And then similarly, I think earlier in the evening, there was a Shahid attack somewhere in Zaporizhia. I don't know if they sent them to the city or to somewhere else, but the Ukraine shot down 5 of those drones. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of the breaking news. Um, yeah, they're really they do like hitting Odessa. They've also hit Snihurevka, which is super interesting. Russia is like terrified of this town. It's in Mykolaiv. Obviously, it's like really far behind the front lines at this point. But they are like terrified of this town. I think it's just kind of it's the crossroads of these kind of two major highways. So and kind of more importantly, Ukraine just recently, like this week or something, or maybe last week, they've repaired these bridges. I think they repaired this bridge and a few of these other bridges in this general area. They've been repairing these bridges to get all these roads back up and running. And now Russia attacked today with Shaheeds, and they attacked this weekend with S-300s, where they killed 2 teenagers. I think one was 17 and one was 18. Um, so they're attacking Snihurivka as well. So these are kind of the major events of the evening. Um, uh, yeah, there's trains there too. I think. Um, there's also a an incendiary attack on Orikhiv, and there's one super interesting thing that I have no news about this. This is strictly from just seeing artillery reports, and I don't even know who shot this artillery. But these three artillery strikes are geolocated artillery strikes, and it's kind of interesting. This area, this kind of area near Myrna. I don't actually know who controls this. I have it as Russian because the last I heard, Russian had taken this town. Other people have this as a gray area. I've even seen people list this as Ukrainian controlled. See that my last news from here was from February, so so I don't know who currently controls this. I'm pretty sure it's Russia though. But these three artillery strikes are geolocated strikes, and if you look at it through this, it kind of and these are the locations are within like 200 meters or so. So you could imagine it's probably along this tree line and probably along this tree line and then something in between them, which is kind of interesting. It could hint at a some sort of reconnaissance action. I don't know in which direction, whether it's Ukrainian or Russian, but it could be some sort of event taking place. This dot is the wrong color. Should fix the color of the dot. But anyways, Constantine, have you? Oh, I just kind of want to break up my monologue for a second. It's-
All right, so I'm gonna ask you, can you start sharing the screen in the Discord so
oh
I
yeah,
can see
yeah,
it as well?
yeah. I can do that.
So that, and I wanted to ask something. I wanted not to ask Vishal to speak about something. There was today a statement released by United States Department of Justice, I think, regarding the investigation of four United States citizens that colluded with the foreign agents, FSB agents, to promote disinformation in the United States, to influence the elections, and to spread hate and disinformation about Ukraine. I don't know. Have you read about it? Have you seen
No,
it?
I don't know anything about that.
So it's. Let me share the link with you. It's pretty interesting. There are four individuals. Yeah, just pasted the link into the chat, into general chat was the Twitter of Department of Justice. They have a link to their website. Let me also. We're on YouTube, right?
Yeah,
Give me 1 second.
I will.
With you.
Here is their their webpage.
Yep. So what they're saying, the interesting part is that one of those guys that was arrested. So I'm not really familiar with this, but his name is Augustus. If you open the link, can you find his like the guy named Augustus here?
Augustus
Just
Remain.
yeah, just search for Augustus
Yeah,
on this page.
yeah.
Just hit
Augustus.
Control F and.
I did. I searched it. Do you not see it?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I'm looking at YouTube instead
Yeah.
of you. Yeah. So there is a delay. Oh, give me 1 second. So and turned out this guy is like, I don't know. It's a big joke or something. Augustus C. Romanian Jr. He is like left crazy guy. Someone even called him on commenting this, called him Black Hitler for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know the details, but he's like completely, I think, like crazy guy who was spewing Russian, not Russian, just general like hate between, in enabling culture wars. And it basically shows how, what Russia is doing is it's basically fueling far left and far right so that they fight each other, and there is like this huge disconnect between two parties in the United States. it's pretty interesting if you dig deeper into it. But yeah, it's up. I shared the link in the chat on YouTube. So if
Yeah.
someone wants to follow and get more details, it's this is an interesting story. Unfortunately, I did not have too much time to prepare to discuss it, but I recommend everyone to
Yeah. I
go
think
through it
I think
and research those individuals as well.
I don't think people can see that link in the thing. But I will. I'll tweet out the link. Um, because YouTube has this thing where they don't want
Oh,
you to uh, put links in the chat because for like safety reasons. So I tweeted out that link. Anyways, and also I'm sure you could Google it. Like if you Google probably this phrase here. Um, but anyways, so that's super interesting. Yeah, I didn't hear about this today. I must have missed it. Or I guess I wasn't really reading American news to be honest. But it's it's unfortunate the reach that we've given the FSB. Because they've really done nothing to earn this reach. It's just that we've kind of been sloppy in kind of our society, not taking things seriously enough, and we've allowed them to infiltrate too much, and now we're kind of getting punished for that, I guess. Um, but yeah, uh,
yep. And if you see, if you see those crazy, or not crazy, if you see a lot of heavy right wingers right now screaming about woke culture and all that stuff, you pretty much can be sure that both that this is interconnected. This is spewed by Russia. Russia is fueling those groups, funding with money, funding with the material for them to spread, and it's has all the same roots.
yeah. So what kind of news do you want to talk about first? Because there's several types of news. There's some cool drone videos that I have. There's bomb news, and then there's kind of the general like walking around news. What kind of news should we start with?
Let's start with the videos. I want to see the videos.
Okay, so here's some drone videos. Yeah, these none of these are like breaking news drone videos. They're just like it's just a bunch of drone videos. They're cool. So let's just go through it. So this is and these are all those like sports drones, you know. Uh, so this one is kind of just flying into a bunker. Uh, and there's this one. This is just an enormous explosion. Like, um,
Where is it?
where is this? Because that's a good question because I actually located this one. I'm pretty sure I located it. Not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it's right here, um, just north of Avdiivka. I'm pretty sure it's there. Not 100%. Uh, but it's just an enormous explosion because they flew a 1 kilogram bomb into a pile of mines and it just blew up all the mines. Oh man, like these mines, like Ukraine has used these mines to like blow up bridges, where Like I don't know if you remember those like special forces videos from like I don't know, like last year where they took like like a car, like a small car, packed full of these mines, and they like drove it over to a bridge, and they packed all the mines underneath the bridge, and then blew up the bridge. So like these mines, like they can do a lot of damage when you like add them up a little bit. So it's like flying a bomb into one. It's just like it's kind of absurd. So so these drones are insanely difficult to fly. They are so much harder to fly than you think they are. Um, I've talked to people who have done these the simulators where they you know they you basically you put on a headset to fly these things, and it's just crazy how difficult it is to fly these things, control them, because they're so fast and they're so nimble. That's easy to lose control and have it like fling out of control, and just crash into the ground.
And anyone can try it. Actually, people I know recommend you can use Steam has FVP drone simulator, so anyone can go there, and if you have a controller, you can go ahead and try it.
So this is another drone video that I have a location for. Um, they took out a electronic warfare like antenna, I think. This happened in Russia. Um, can't remember what day it was. Is it like the 16th maybe? Uh, yeah, it was right here. Um, yeah, they so this was like just north of Kharkiv. Yeah. So those are kind of the drone videos I have. I just want to stress like these are insanely difficult to fly. And I don't know how that game you're talking about how that works. But I know when you have like the headset on, because that's like how you fly them with the headset. It's just really hard. It takes a lot of practice to do some of these things, and it's very skilled. It's very skilled. So we have two more videos to show. Both of these are bombs. These are um, I don't have the video the tank getting hit in the face, no, but I have seen that. Uh, but here, like look at this bomb crater. This is a crazy bomb crater. Like what do you think this is? Like 30 meters across or something?
So as discussed, yeah, I found that if it's for example Fab 500, this is 500 kilogram bomb. It has 8 meters diameter and 3.5 meters deep crater. This crater is like, I don't know, it's probably 3 times bigger. So I can imagine that it's probably 1,500 kilogram bomb, aviation bomb.
And then look at this one. It's just such a big crater. I remember this one was measured at, if I remember, it was 19 meters across and 7 meters deep.
Yeah, so it's either 1,000 or 1,500.
So it's yeah, this
And more.
one was reported in the news as a 1,500 kilogram bomb. Um, it happened in this this weekend somewhere in Kharkiv. I don't know.
Do you know what they hit? Because it just looks like,
They
just
they
random.
Well, what I don't actually know what they hit, but they said that it hit a fuel warehouse, and I don't mean like gasoline fuel. It's like a wood pellet fuel, like for like fireplaces, like that sort of fuel. So they said it hit a fuel warehouse somewhere. I don't actually know where it is. But it also, I think they said it also damaged like a dozen houses or something. But these bombs are just enormous. So these are very likely 1,500 kilogram bombs. These are glide bombs. They're likely launched, somewhere over here or something, and then they glide north and hit the city. Um, the accuracy of these bombs, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know if they're even guided. But these are big bombs, and this kind of comes back to news that I read over this weekend. It was from former Russian aviation officers. Were talking about how the Russian Air Force has completely failed. That their number one duty in a war is to strike a minimum is to strike targets a minimum of 100 kilometers behind the front line, and they're so the and if not deeper. So they're so like the goal of the Air Force is to hit targets between 100 and 600 kilometers behind the front line. So it would be hitting stuff like here or something, whereas they can barely hit targets that are, 20 kilometers or 30 kilometers behind the front line. So it's basically talking about how the Air Force has totally failed, and there's no sugarcoating how bad the Russian Air Force is, and they're talking about how these glide bombs, even Russia doesn't know how many of these glide bombs that they have access to. Like the Air Force itself doesn't know how many bombs they've access to. So nobody can tell how long these strikes can last for, whether they'll run out of them rapidly or whether it will take a very long time or if they can make them indefinitely. Nobody knows the answer to any of those questions. So, in that sense, the basic gist of their argument is that even the one thing that they're doing right might not last long, and it's not even really changing anything on the battlefield. So that's kind of an argument from a Russian aviation officer. And then and yeah, their air force is bad. It's not good. They have they have so many resources in their air force. They have so many planes, so many missiles and bombs, and if they were trained better, if they had combined arms, if they had the communication machineries to do their job correctly, they would be a force multiplier instead of just kind of sitting in the background every once in a while dropping a bomb on something. So it's definitely the Air Force is a complete failure. It's and if you look at this in some sort of historic perspective, the long term result of this war, at least one of them will likely be Russia completely rebuilding their air force, because it's been an embarrassment and a failure. So, what do you think about the air force, Constantine?
Well, they proven to be quite a failure. They failed to provide close air support. They failed to provide, to actually facilitate the combined arms operations. I don't. They have problems with friendly fire. They have problems with friendly fire in air, where they shoot each other down, they have problems with hitting their own forces on the move. And I don't think they performed anywhere like on a sufficient level, even though their tech is quite new. I mean, their missiles that they have on the planes are quite good. Their planes, the Su-45, Su-35, Su-34s are much better planes than anything that Ukraine has. But still, they fail to achieve anything close to. Thank God they fail to achieve any success
Yeah,
with it.
they have better
They just
planes.
basically they're randomly dropping bombs in some direction. That's what they're doing.
They have
They
better
were
better planes, better missiles, better bombs, and they still failed. It's and more numbers,
at,
you know.
at the beginning when they were like they did not care about their numbers. They thought they're gonna win. They were flying directly over Ukrainian cities, specifically, for example, Kharkiv, and they managed to land a couple of good shots. But it was like they were so much dominating there, and and at the same time they had so little success, that like successful strikes, that it just, I can safely say that they are quite a failure. They and it's not the pilots. They have good pilots in terms of maneuvering, in terms of flying the plane, but as a force, it's not enough to be a successful air force. It's not enough for you to be to have good pilots. What's critical is to know how to use those planes, when to use those planes, and how to coordinate between them. And that's why F-16s for Ukraine, for example, is not going to happen soon, because and that's why the training and preparation for operating Western planes takes so much time, because Air Force just flying over and bombing, it is not effective. You will not be effective. You got to know what you're doing. You got to combine it with the reconnaissance. You got to combine it with your ground units. You got to combine it with your intelligence, and between the planes as well, and then it can be successful. So that's where Russia is lacking right now, and hopefully they will keep lacking. And you see, I think we've seen this video where the pilot of the Su-34 uses Garmin GPS navigator.
Yep.
And it says a lot. It says a lot about them.
I think it's funny that they do that. I've seen people try to defend that. They say that the military radars don't have the streets on like the street map. So the Garmin would their GPS, the Garmin GPS would have the streets on it, and I was thinking, like, why does an airplane need to know the streets? Are they like trying to like find a place to park? Like,
I mean,
what
I
are you
mean,
doing?
yeah, I mean, it's still a failure. It's still a failure. Even if that's true, well, build the planes that you're the second power in the world, like they claim. So build the planes that have that, or stop and get the fuck out of Ukraine.
Yeah. So there were a few airstrikes today. There was one airstrike in Lipsy. I haven't. They said they hit. They What they said the target was a word in Russian that I don't know, so I didn't know what it meant. I tried looking it up, and I think that it was a typo. Anyway, and then there's another airstrike in Novoyahirivka over near the front line. So these are two airstrikes. You can see how far behind the front line they managed to get this bomb. They really lobbed this one. What do you think? So these are kind of the distances of the Air Force. It's embarrassing. Like, the Air Force is not supposed to be striking things like this. Air Force is supposed to be striking like over here, uh, not over here. So yeah, there are a few more strikes today in Slovyansk. I actually geolocated these two S-300 strikes. not really sure what they were targeting, but they sure did hit the ground, and they made a little crater in some grass, so they managed to pull that off, and they shot some shaheeds there too. Yeah, so this is a very impressive showing by the Russian Air Force, and I don't know what did they call, are the missiles like a missile? I don't know what S-300 count as, but whatever, they're doing a whole lot, I guess. Yeah, they shot some grass. I was just trying to find the real fast the video of the hole they made in that little piece of grass, but I can't find it. But they shot some grass, um, and then here, Ukraine blew up some BMPs and stuff. The news is kind of sparse. I'm not gonna lie, the news is kind of sparse. I talked about this. Mines got blown up, and then in Pavlivka, Ukraine blew up a BMP-3, which is kind of cool. There's no video of that, but they did. At least not on the video that I know of. But anyways, just getting to the news, which is kind of boring. But up in the Kupiansk area, the Russians have been trying to attack Sinkivka. They have failed. Really, nothing has happened there. Um, uh, in the area around Kremena, um, Russia is pushing ever westwardly from Shipilivka. They are now the front line is probably roughly around this kind of road here. There are some videos in over the past few days of Ukraine being forced to withdraw from positions to the east of this road, and now the front line is likely around this road. The Ukrainian General Staff describes it as fighting north of Kryhorivka, which this would be. And then there's also fighting south of Debrova. I'm not really sure what's happening there. So there's lots of and pretty intense fighting going on in this forest. Constantine, I know you had friends who were in this area, and then I think they got rotated out. Did they do? Were they ever rotated back in?
They are right now over there in Kremena. 2 days ago they went into the woods. They have like 4 day shifts, basically 4 days you hold a position, then someone changes you. So they went there 2 days ago. I expect them to be back in 2 days, like maybe Thursday.
Okay. Have you heard anything uh about this area? Or no? Okay. uh so yeah, so
Yeah,
moving.
sorry, I got distracted for a
Okay.
minute here.
Okay, so moving kind of south, in Bilohorivka, a few days ago on the 14th, um, Russia had pushed up this street and moved towards this whatever this is. I forgot what this is. Like a water treatment plant or something like that. Anyway, they moved into this kind of area, and there are videos of Ukrainians abandoning these positions. They kind of abandoned them and ran this way. Um, and then what the Russians didn't like admitting to, but they were kind of forced to, is that shortly after Ukraine abandoned these positions, they counterattacked, and Russia was kicked out of all of these positions again. So Russia did advance kind of up this road, and they kind of control around here. They did advance kind of into this kind of industrial-ish area, and then Ukraine pushed them out, and now this is kind of a gray area. So that's a whole list of things that happened. Russia is still attacking Sperna from the south, without any notable successes. There are now videos of Ukraine in this like refinery area thing, and also Ukrainian forces. Other videos of Ukrainian forces in this forest strip right here. Um, yeah, so that's all. That's kind of all the news there. And then in the Bakhmut area, um, there are tons of videos of fighting in this kind of forested area near north of Bakhmut. Uh, I'm not really sure what's going on in this foresty area or who really controls it. It seems like a gray zone to me, and that's how I map it. In Bakhmut itself, this kind of blue building here, there was a video of this exploding. It was a pretty big explosion, pretty impressive actually. That Ukraine blew it up themselves as they were withdrawing. This area is now, I believe, a gray area, or some people say it's under Russian control. I'm just going to keep it as a gray area because everything exploded. There's really nothing left to control. But anyway, so kind of the point here is that Russia is trying to push down all of these kind of parallel streets, and they have made some progress. They've moved at least a block over the past week. The area around the train station is they Ukraine says it has stabilized, and we've seen no real changes here. It seems like a gray zone to me. And this area, the last I heard, which was yesterday, because I haven't heard from this guy today, but this street, which is called was it Kazakinka or whatever. Anyway, this street here, he said was probably the heaviest fighting in Bakhmut as of yesterday, and he said that Russian forces had moved about 20 to 30 meters into this road. So they're moving from the east. So he's basically saying that the Russians were kind of on and these houses, and then they kind of moved to these houses, and now there's heavy fighting all along the street. As of yesterday, I don't know if that's changed since then. And in the kind of western part of Bakhmut, people noticed that I changed my area of control for Ukraine. I I did this because when I originally made this change, there were videos of and information about Russian DRGs were on the streets, and oops, and the DRGs were breaking through the Ukrainian line and trying to set up points along these streets. So basically, the way it works is that the the DRG breaks behind the line and sets up like a little base in one of these like houses or something. So they go in, they get control of the little building, and then they like radio back, and Russia then sends more troops towards the DRG, and they try to link up and reinforce them. And if they can get enough reinforcements into this position, they move through and clear like all the houses around it, and then they control that area. So so Russia had been pushing these DRGs into this whole they've been pushing DRGs into this whole general area, and they failed to ever link up with these DRGs. So this area is now securely under Ukrainian control. So I mapped it from a gray area. I changed it into a Ukrainian controlled area. So that explains this. It also kind of explains basically more or less how all the combat around here is going. Because it's all kind of based on, one small group gets a foothold and then they send more guys in. Ukraine, from what I understand, Ukraine's primary goal is to kill the people as they try to reinforce the DRG. They don't necessarily go out of their way to destroy the DRG itself, but they want to wipe out the people who control it. And in that way, they can bleed Russia of their infantry. And then once the DRG realizes they are not going to get reinforced, they pull out on their own volition. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the Bakhmut news I have. Um, and then to the west of Bakhmut, Russia is trying to attack Ivanivska. I don't actually know where. I think it's along this forest strip. They've had no success. They're trying to push west along the this forest strip here, and also to a lesser extent this forest strip here. They're trying to push west, and they've had no successes. In fact, Ukraine has pushed up even further east. Um, Ukraine now has positions all along this forest strip here, and there are videos today of Russia pretty heavily shelling these forest strips. Um, and moving on um, south, I think I talked about this last time, maybe I didn't, um, but Ukraine had pushed up to these forest strips here, and then I remember talking about yeah, I think I did talk about this, but I remember they might try to jump across this canal at some point, maybe. Um, there's still fighting near Novokalovnoye and near Stepove, and Russia is still kind of feebly trying to attack Avdiivka, just the, suicide waves. There's really no hope of success. They're just kind of like dying, apparently. The same sort of thing of Sevierna and Pervomaisky. These are all kind of suicide attacks with no hope of success. Nebelska, same sort of deal. Minor attacks, taking pretty heavy casualties. Marinka, not much has changed over the past week. And in the south, in Vuhledar, Russia has ceased attacking. Um, in kind of to the west of Vuhledar, there are videos yesterday of actually, yeah, yesterday of Ukrainians getting heavily shelled in this forest strip, and to a lesser extent this forest strip, which shows that the Ukrainian control is further south than I thought. In fact, it's possible they control all the way west as well. I just don't know. And yeah, that's kind of all the news I got. There's really not much happening, to be honest. Yeah, the video of see the video of the Russians moving up these fields and just getting destroyed by javelins. It's pretty brutal watching like five tanks blow up. But you just have to realize that that's not a one-time thing. It's happened literally dozens of times, and each time they lose like five tanks. So they've lost hundreds of tanks. Like I said, I you don't see Russians using this road anymore. Like from this intersection here to this intersection up here, like the Russians don't use this road anymore. And I'm pretty sure the reason they don't use it is because they lost so many tanks. It's literally impassable. It's kind of funny. They just the last video I saw from here, there were like 30 destroyed tanks.
When did you see this video?
Early February. It may have been filmed in January.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's so many destroyed tanks. There's also um, one of those bridge layer things. One of those bridge layer things was destroyed here, so it's just like a giant bridge in the middle of the road. Uh, so yeah, that's kind of all the news I got. There's really not much happening. Really, the biggest thing is that from what I've heard from people in Bakhmut, they sense that Russia they're kind of holding back in their assaults in Bakhmut. They felt this way a while ago too, where Russia kind of held back for like 2 weeks, and then they did this giant assault where they captured like all this kind of like all of this area basically in over the course of a few days, and now they seem to be holding back again, and they fully expect Russia to do one giant push in a week or two to capture the rest of the city basically. So and it kind of remains to be seen what will happen if Ukraine can survive that next major thrust. What does Russia have left? Because they seem to be just losing so many guys. It's like I don't know how long you can sustain these levels of casualties, especially now that they are losing like actual Russian forces now, and it's not just Wagner. You have the VDV there. You have other military groups. There's Russian special forces. I've heard from one of the guys in Bakhmut. He said that they came across a group of guys who were really well armed. So they all had like expensive top of the line optics. They all had like infrared, like night vision. They all had like top of the line armor. So he said that like each guy was probably worth $100,000 in gear. So these like that's not like your average trooper. Like these are like special people. And he said that they just got attacked by like a wave of those people, and yeah, I don't know how long Russia can last. Like I feel like I've been saying this for a long time, and it's still baffling that they can still keep throwing infantry at stuff. But believe it or not, they do have a finite resource. It will run out eventually. Like this you could sort of say the same sort of thing about Marinka, where Russia has pushed across the city until they hit a point where they can't push anymore, and they have basically not moved in months and months and months. So I know a lot of the Russian mill blogger type people, they're worried that this could happen in Bakhmut, where they will reach a point in Bakhmut where they can't attack anymore, and then what? So I think that's kind of why Russia is trying to save up one huge push and try to capture the city all at once, because I think they're genuinely scared of getting stuck. Now, there's definitely VDV in the city. From everything I've heard, Russian forces are taking part in these assaults at this point. Yeah, if Bakhmut becomes another Marinka, it would. I think honestly, it would be completely devastating to the Russian military. Uh, but I don't know. What do you think, Constantine? Do you think they need another Marinka?
So I'm not sure about like it's hard to make predictions, but they're like you said, they may throw a lot, but they're finite. They don't have infinite resources. Each failed attack cost them a lot. They don't have equipment anymore in the numbers that they had before. Like when they started Marinka, they had like 1 to 5 armor, even 1 to 10 at some places, armored vehicles. Same for artillery rounds. It was like 1 to 10 compared to Ukraine. Now those numbers are gone. They can use their mobilization potential to get more people, but it would like if your people are advancing without the artillery support, without enough equipment, without proper logistics, you will run out of those people as well. And I believe that they don't have much time. They don't have much resources. Once again, they may take Bakhmut, but they're gonna like what is Bakhmut is just a small city. It's a small town. It's not even a city. After this, they have to move further, and I don't know what their plan. I don't think they can move anywhere from there. They will have it will take a lot of time to recover, and I honestly don't understand. They cannot produce equipment. I mean, they can make, for example, 30 tanks a month, let's say, maybe 40 if we combine all their restoration capacity. But that's basically it's not enough. It's not enough to sustain this kind of damage that they're taking right now. So I don't see I don't see this continuing for too much longer. And I think they at some point they will just hit like in Marinka where the progress is going to be even slower than it is right now. So it's they're not doing fast even they're not advancing fast right now even though they're taking part of the Bakhmut, but they're still like it cost them a lot and it's just gonna stop soon, I think. And that don't forget that Ukraine is getting like those Bradleys, for example, they're in Ukraine already. Not all of them, but some of them are. Wait for more. I think like 2-3 more weeks. We will get the rest of them in Ukraine. We will get CV90s as well. We will get all the tanks are going to be there as well, and that's it's we will use them. It's not like we're going to keep them in the rear. We will use them, and it's a matter of time. Like they don't have an answer for that. At least I don't know how the counterattack will go, but if they exhaust themselves, you must understand that to defend you need the same equipment. You cannot defend statically. You have to have your armor. You have to have your artillery, and Ukraine is accumulating those sources. So for me, it's hard to say that it's good for Ukraine because once again, we're losing people. There are people dying every day, and this land has to be taken back. And each kilometer of our land is going to worth us obviously something in our human resources. But it's good in terms that Russia is grinding down it's not that kind of country that can sustain it infinitely. I mean, its demographics are not that great. I mean, yeah, it's 140 million, but how many people left? How many how many adult males that are healthy and of the military age are there? If you take into account all those numbers, they don't have that much, and they cannot afford also to pull them out from their economy because once again to produce that equipment to produce military equipment in such a pace they need like 30% of their GDP to be used on the war, and 30% of GDP means that 30% of the working force is going to be working on it. So pulling out any adult, most productive adult males out of this is going to hurt them, and it's not sustainable, and not even in the long run as well. So I see that they're just going to stop at some point, and I hope that point is close. I think we discussed this couple of probably a month ago or two when I said that Russia probably has it like 1 year. They can. I think it was less than. I don't remember right now, but I think it was about like 8 months to 1 year. I said, and I do still think that they can probably mount once again. Collect those leftover T-72s that they have, find T-55, T-62s, and do one more like one or two more large scale attacks. But each of those attacks are gonna be like it's just bringing their demise. They're using the equipment that was produced by Soviet Union over the period of like of 50 years, 40 years. And they're just going through burning and plus 30 years of Russia as well, and they're burning through it like I don't know, really fast. So there is no way they can recover. while at the same time Ukraine is only starting to get Western equipment. I mean, yeah, in terms of artillery, the things are, Ukraine is supplying artillery rounds is quite slow. But in terms of armor, for example, the West have not even started supply. Like this is such a small piece of, I don't know, 100 Bradleys, 60 or 50 CV90s, uh, well, 40 Leopard 2s. I mean, there is around 1,000 Leopard 2s in different conditions in Europe right now. There are 6,000 Bradleys. There are 2,000 CV90s. There are thousands, I think, thousand and a half of Martyrs. And it's like, and the plans to produce artillery are only opening up right now. There are 3 plants, I think, in the United States. One, and there is new one in Texas that's spinning up. There is one in Canada. Also, Europe is stepping up the production, and it's gonna get only better. But it's of course not gonna happen in next week or two.
Yeah, this you said something that made me think. Where would Russia go after if they capture Bakhmut, or even if they don't capture it? Where would they go next? I think um, I think their main goal would be first to go kind of this way, uh, to flank New York and to attack the north of New York, um, to kind of capture this whole area. I think that would be one of their primary goals. Um, and
I think they will try to focus on the low hanging fruit. It's pretty hard to understand what it is, but they will not be capable, definitely, of starting a big, offensive to capture something like Konstantinivka or Chasiv Yar. It's just not.
no,
They're not going to be capable of doing that. So I think they're going to try to do something more, like something really low hanging, and they're just gonna try to amass their forces and launch something instant and fast, and that's what I think. If you think that this area can be like this, maybe, but I don't know. But Seaversk, it is a strategically important
I think
direction for them.
I think these would be
But
their two movements. Honestly,
I mean, I don't see them being successful there. That's
I
where
don't I
I'm
don't think they'd be successful anywhere, but I think this is where they would go.
well, they have failed to do much progress there so far. 56, 54th, and 30th Brigade is over there, and so far they have been quite successful, I would say, defending. And I don't know. I don't see them being successful there, and I think they just gonna have to say something like their generals are just gonna say, okay, we done it. Let's take a break. Let's take a break at least like 2-3 weeks, because they need to rebuild their forces. I don't believe that their forces they have enough forces to perform another operation right after this.
No, but yeah, this kind of area around Siversk is a it's easy for Ukraine to defend, at least at this point. Um, if this line breaks, it gets a lot harder to defend. But at this line that they're currently on is pretty easy. Um, this kind of central area has lots of hills. I guess we could look at it in 3D and look at the hills. There are these big hills that overlook these positions where you can, like, I should get rid of my lines. So these big hills overlook these positions, um, and they offer us, protection. For you could put tanks up there, you could put ATGMs up there, mortars, all sorts of things. So, and then basically all of these towns have hills behind them, whether the hill is very large or not that large, that it still helps, you know. That's kind of the situation here. Is just lots of beneficial hills. And it's a big reason why Russia has not been able to move much. They kind of moved up to this river. It's a really tiny river, but anyway, they moved up to like basically to the bank of this river, and that's about it. They crossed in this area. They crossed the river into these kind of farm fields, and they kind of just gave up. uh, so so yeah, I also don't think that they're really pushing here too much. They do occasionally do these attacks, but they're not like not like a big deal, you know. They're putting everything they have into Bakhmut, so all these are kind of afterthoughts. Yeah, the hills have eyes. I agree. All right, so that's kind of all I have for today. Um, I don't know, Constantine, do you have anything? Do you have any? Did you hear anything from like Novoselivska or anything over there?
Uh, no, no, I don't have. I spent like probably last 4 days did not communicate with anyone much. I had too much stuff going on at work, so we're not
Yep. So I guess
not.
there's one last thing I could talk about. Ukraine seems to be targeting this kind of region. I guess I could draw on the map. Uh, they're targeting kind of this region with artillery. Um, and Russia doesn't like that. uh, so uh, you kind of make of that what you will. You personally, I think Ukraine is trying to draw resources here. I think Ukraine wants Russia to push everything they have to like this. Like they really want Russia to reinforce this whole kind of western part of Zaporizhia. Then they've been doing everything they can to get Russia to just put all their forces kind of here. And as a result, Russia has made this triangle kind of one of the strongest positions in the southern front. They've made huge, super deep defensive lines where Mykolaiivka is a major hub for this area. So is Tokmak, and so uh, when Ukraine is kind of shelling this kind of area, I think it's part of this goal to pull Russian troops into here. And what does that expose? Because you know that Russia has a lot of forces here, and Ukraine is trying to pull more guys here. So there's whole this area here. So anyway, that's just kind of a thing to mention. All right, so I think that's it. So thank you everybody for coming. You can like and share the video if you'd like. And see you on Thursday. Goodbye.